Welcome back to Tiger Isle Second City. I used to call it Tiger Isle the Second City. Why did I call it Tiger Isle? Tiger Isle is a name I just made up, although it turns out they're Barn Owls. I keep saying that. And Second City, I felt was more like a Shadowrun City type thing. That means like day and night. Like in the day, you have samurai, and night you've got ninjas type thing. That means, and uh, in that type of sense, I think the rules that apply during the daytime seem to have a little bit of a club shift by nighttime, and going through with a different perspective and some of the rulings of AD&D always seems to produce a second outlook on what you can use in your adventure at a particular level that you would have normally probably would have by some rules excluded. You told yourself, I don't have that bonus, or that school doesn't exist, or that ruling is nowhere to be found in the player's handbook. And I found with the second look, a fresher perspective look, I usually found more stuff that was usable. Okay, so let's move on here. First usable thing that we want to look at is on PHP. Pathfinder kind of does do more. Don't have a Pathfinder right now. Pathfinder, I don't believe, is taking on a complete Arcane or complete Mage. And so the classes that are in those books are probably not in the Pathfinder lexicon. So I still look at 3.5 in a game strategy thing. I think it's interesting. But if that's unfabulous. And in that type of sense, this is a wizard. Wizards are not the same. That's Miley. And that's Nevin. Wizards are not the same as Dungeons and Dragons, Player's Handbook, Public Service Announcement, joke that they had with badass sorcerer. And that's Hit It. Hit It, you're a badass sorcerer. Which is another sorcerer's monk or something like that later on. But here, this is a guy type thing. You see all the belt buckles on his character type thing. Those are just like the way that Clinton Boomer dressed up in his video with a bunch of buckles around his body type thing. I think he was emulating that character picture with all the belt buckles in it. Alright, anyway, so that's a sorcerer. That's their table type thing. Looking at the top, that is 3 spells of first, and looking at the bottom, that's 6 spells per day of each spell level. And in that, that's page 54 here, and that's spells known, and that's 2. And I think there's more than at first level, there's more than 2 first level magic spells. If we turn back here, that's first level spells, which they're saying there's only 2 of, taking that to a sense, which they're not. They're saying sorcerer, out of these schools of magic and different spells, can only do 2 total spells that they know, taking that to a sense. So they're going to do Burning Hands and Magic Missile. And here, you turn back to it, that's, they can do them either one a combination 3 times per day over to first level. So they can cast 3 magic missiles at first level if they wanted to. Now, when it came to doing Mage Armor or something like that, then according to their spells known, they only know 2 spells, and they knew Magic Missile and Burning Hands, and then Mage Armor, and that's 3 spells, and they didn't know 3 spells, they only know 2 spells, so they can't learn how to do Mage Armor, type thing that means, because they don't have a book. Yeah. But they still do 2 spells, and they can do either one, so now they're like, I'm not going to cast Burning Hands, I'm going to cast Force Effect, Magic Missile, 3 times in today. And then if they had a Charisma, taking that type of sense here, which was complicated right then and there. Let's go here. That's roll. That's page 54. That spell's known to spells, and that's a Charisma bonus. So if they have a Charisma one, then they can go to page 8, and then with the 14 Charisma, or something like that, then they can do, and do I see the page 8? Yes. They can do another spell on their 3. So now that's 3 first, plus another one from page 8 from their charisma bonus, which is 4 spells at first level that day of magic missiles. Then you look up magic missiles, and I believe they're first for the sorcerer or for the wizard, and that's a force effect on them, and that's magic missile at first, and that's 100 feet, and d4 plus 1. Might be a little bit hard to see it on mine, but that's good. So from that was its own thing of setting up a character. And so with 4 of them, they can do 4d4 plus 4. 44 is 16 plus 4 is 20. They can do 20 points of force damage at first level. Unless they get a 20 charisma, then they could do 5 of them. 5d4, which is 20 plus 5 bonus type thing, which is 25 at first. 25 force damage. So that's interesting. Interesting combination. Wizards have a book change-out type thing here. And at each new wizard level, she gains 2 new spells of any spell level that she can cast based on her new wizard level for her spell book, which is automatic. They're saying that during the time, some DMs make them pay for it, but I think it said that it was during the course of the adventure without the side adventure to prove that you were paying for your book. So they're free, I believe. And wizard begins play next to Nevin, Nevin's head, his hair, and a wizard begins play on page 57. Wizard begins play with a spellbook containing all 0-level spells except those from a prohibited school or schools. If any, see selected specialization, page 57, plus 3 first-level spells of your choice. For each point of intelligence bonus the wizard has, see table 1-1 ability modifiers and bonus spells, page 8, the spellbook holds 1 additional first-level spell of your choice. So if you had a 2 modifier or 14 intelligence, that's 2 plus 3 spells, it said. So you have 5 spells in your spell book that you can cast any one of the 5 once per day, except for your intelligence bonus or specialization bonus. So now, in that's a chart on page 55, which says 1, and the same chart that did your intelligence bonus for a spell book also does for bonus spells, page 8 here on page 56, next to my Lee, but not next to her hair, down by her canteen and feet, and the bottom of her staff, right there. So that's cool. If you're looking for the familiar for wizard, it says summon familiar, but you're in wizard, you move back your line to 54, and then you move back again to 53, and then to 52, under table 316 sorcerers, down to 20, a strange thing to look at when you're not looking at first level, and that's familiars, and then back down, taking that type of sense, is familiar right there with your special in a bat, cat, hawk, lizard, owl, rat, raven, snake, toad, or weasel, and all of them have different bonuses that they give depending on which creature that you take at first level, and the modification type thing of that 100 gold for familiar or summon familiar. It might be a spell now, but occasionally you might have to look up familiar in an index of the book, being more than 150 pages, I think in that type of sense. And then you might look up familiar in that means in an index, and then that's here. Familiar is 52 right there. Not sure if you can see that there. Here, and for the wizard on 57. And so it's at 57. Go back to page 57, and that's a familiar. Wizard can obtain a familiar in exactly the same manner as a sorcerer can. See the sorcerer description and the accompanying familiar sidebar for details. Whatever that is, you have to do. Somewhere in there, there's familiars. Should say how to acquire one. These are not animal companions. Familiars are magically linked to their masters in some sense. The familiar. And the master are practically one being. That's why, for example, the master can cast a personal rain spell on a familiar, even though he cannot normally cast such a spell only on himself. Familiar is a normal animal that gains new powers and becomes a magical beast when summoned to service by a sorcerer or wizard. Retains the appearance, hit dice, base attack bonus, base save bonus, skills, and feats of the normal animal it once was, but is treated as a magical beast instead of an animal for the purpose of any effect that depends on its type. Only a normal, unmodified animal may become a familiar. Thus, a druid sorcerer can't use her animal companion as a familiar. A familiar also grants special abilities. It's an animal, but on page 34, in that type of sense, they have extra stuff already aligned for them in Destiny, and that would not leave them there. That's 34, that's Vidania, that's 35 here, and we turn the page, and that's an animal companion there. Since they're going to get bonuses from that until other designation, this would make them not just an animal, but also a companion that isn't a familiar. This says basics right here. The familiar and the companion are both sidekicks, but they're different level play of sidekicks on the animal. So the animal wouldn't be natural. The companion is adjective, adverb, changing the animal, taking that type of sense. If it was an animal by itself, it wouldn't have the word companion with it, and therefore it is not a base state animal. And now if you cover that up, taking that type of sense, and it says just only animal, it is only just an animal type thing. When you put it with animal companion, that means it's no longer just a neutral animal in that type of sense. And so they're saying that cure heal definition of it is the problem. Yeah. Which it isn't. Where is I? That's familiars type thing in that sense. We're reading familiars. In the 3rd edition, which I don't have right now, it used to say that you used to pay 100 gold for the summon, and the summon would be different in terms of contract, much like a lesser planar ally, from that, which is another thing of just complete awesome. And planar ally, you just look up by itself, and is really cool. There's a lot of things here that are what do you call? That's planar ally lesser on page 261, and in that it should say a service there, and I believe that's gold pieces, 500 gold pieces at the bottom, 2 lines down in the center. Requires payment of 500 gold pieces per hit die. You're kind of make that type of contract for its services here in the same way for a summon familiar, just like a summon planar ally. Dragon one I think is the same too. Not sure if I have that one. It's in the PHB 2. Do have the PHB 2, but I'm trying to think if it's in there or if it's in a spell compendium. Get back to that in a while. I don't know how soon of a while. Anyway, let's see here. So now the sorcerer had 4 spells, but the mage only had 1 according to the chart. Type thing that means. That's a chart on page 55 and the intelligence score, and they said for school specialization. School specialization, another thing here. That's wizard table. That's 1 off the chart type thing, and that's 55. And that's 57. And a specialist wizard can prepare 1 additional spell of her specialty school per spell level each day. And I think these are not the same ones on page 57 that are mentioned under Nebin, that are mentioned under the chart type thing as 1 type thing type of sense, because the school specialization is something that you do extra on top of that. And so that would add to that. And then page 8 would be your intelligence bonus spell granted to you. So then that's 3 spells at first level amongst the book of spells that you can do, even from copy type thing. And that means like you would not have to exchange out your spells in that type of sense, but you could copy spells from another spell book, as many as first level spells as there are, along with passing your spellcraft check and also having room in your spell book to do so. A spell book, I believe, in item description says that how many pages and how much it takes up. Or if it doesn't, I think it just said it where I was. Spellcraft check, DC 15 plus a spell level. Wizard also specializing in school of spells gains a +2 bonus on the spellcraft check. Check succeeds. The wizard understands the spell and can copy into her spell book. And let's see. In most cases, wizards charge a fee for the privilege of copying the spell. Space in spell book right there, and it's on page 179 in the player's handbook. Spell takes up 1 page of the spell book per spell level, so a 2nd level spell takes 2 pages, a 5th level spell takes 5 pages, and so forth. Even a 0 level spell, cantrip, takes 1 page. A spell book has 100 pages. So in there, you can learn a lot of different things in that type of sense. In a first level spell, you could put, I guess, 1 page for first level, 100 first level spells in there. Sorcerer would have to stay with 2 spells that they cast a lot in a day, but you could switch out 50 or so first level spells, or switch out 100 different spells if you wanted to, of your first. And then you could, if you weren't a specialist, which is a long story, then if there was 50 or 80 evocation spells, then with 80 evocation spells, you could memorize a different evocation spell for the next day's adventure if you wanted to. Depending on what your zeros, your other stuff, were already in the book. And they said that you can begin your wizard play with all 0 level spells in the book, counting prohibited spellcasting. Now, from prohibited spellcasting, which I guess this video is going to be about prohibited spellcasting type thing, is page 57. There's 8 schools of arcane magic are abjuration, conjuration, divination, enchantment, evocation, illusion, necromancy, and transmutation. So I wrote all of those out type thing. That's abjuration, conjuration, divination, enchantment, evocation, illusion, necromancy, and transmutation. Abjuration, spells that protect, block, or banish. Conjuration, spells that bring creatures or materials to the caster. Divination, spells that reveal information. Enchantment, spells that imbue the recipient with some property or grant the caster power over another being. Evocation, spells that manipulate energy or create something from nothing. Illusion, spells that alter perception or create false images. Necromancy, spells that manipulate, create, or destroy life or life force. Transmutation, spells that transform the recipient physically or change its properties in a more subtle way. And universal, not a school but a category for spells that all wizards can learn. That list was too similar to a lot of things. And in that's first level abjuration is alarm and protection from law on a first level sorcerer wizard. And conjuration at Mage Armor and Summon Monster 1. Divination had comprehend languages and identify. Enchantment had charm person and sleep. Evocation had burning hands and magic missile. And illusion had color spray and silent image. Necromancy had cause fear and ray of enfeeblement. Transmutation has enlarged person and expeditious retreat. Both of those are very, very interesting. And let's see here. Enlarged person. And right there in that type of sense, out of enlarged person 226 is a +2 size bonus to strength. Rarely read, I believe. And that's enlarged person, but it could be wrong on that. I guess that is news to me. On page 228, that's that page, and then we're going to turn a page. That's Expeditious Retreat. And spell increases your baseline speed by 30 feet. This spell, Expeditious Retreats at first, this spell need not to be used as part of retreat. The name of the spell merely hints at the typical wizard's attitude toward combat. So you have to use it to retreat. This spell need not be used as part of retreat. You can just use it to increase your baseline speed from 30 on a human one on page 13 or something like that. And human baseline speed is 30 with the spell of 30 to the racial trait type thing from the spell Expeditious Retreat. That's 30 and 30 at 60 feet movement at first level, or 12 squares, I believe there. And that's 60 divided by 5 foot in each square, which is 12 squares. Now, once again, in the same thing, because I always keep losing. Anyway, let's see here. There it is. And despite penalties, then each square counts as 8 squares, 12 diagonal, and so forth. If movement is cost is doubled twice, then each square counts as 4 squares, or 6 squares of moving diagonally. And if movement cost is doubled 3 times, this is an exception to general rule that 2 doublings are equivalent to a tripling. Interesting. Despite penalties to movement, you can take a full round action to move 5 feet or 1 square. And that's on page 149 underneath that. So each square is 5 feet. That's so 60 feet type thing is divided by 5 feet. And 60 feet divided by 5 feet equals 12 squares. So now that would be, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 squares, just like that. I do have that square thing here, but we were messed up. All right, now in that type thing, we're way off rail. Yeah. That's page 57. The 8 schools of arcane magic are abjuration, conjuration, divination, enchantment, evocation, illusion, necromancy, and transmutation. Now, those are the 8 schools right there in that type of sense. Here in a school specialization, it says a specialist wizard can prepare 1 additional spell. Wizard must choose whether to specialize, and if she does so, choose her specialty at first level. So now we have a character here. That's here. Whoops. And that's probably safer. No. Yeah. Bad and all. Yeah. And let's see here. And that's good. And that's first level. They must choose so at first level, so let's go ahead and mark that. We're going to choose so at first level. And wizard must choose her specialty at first level. And that's a 1 for first. And at this time, she must also give up 2 other schools of magic. Okay, now these are the 8 schools of magic right then and there. And we're going to give up... We're going to give up a... I'm going to do Evocation as a specialty. I'm going to give up Necromancy, Death Magic, and Undead. And I'm going to give up Enchantment, like I did for Salty, because she wasn't a mind player. And I guess you can see that. Now, those are my remaining schools. They said to give up in that 2 other schools, taking that type of sense. And this is, let's see here. That's 1 and 2. Type thing that means there. And that's here and here. So we have to replace 2 of those somewhere on here. Type thing. That's 1. And we're going to take out enchantment. And that's 2. And we're going to take out necromancy. Boom. Yeah. So school of specialization is very different from what one would believe. Going off of that, because you would tell yourself that I lost more schools, but you didn't, and only have 1 school left over. But you could cast from transmutation, illusion, evocation, divination, conjuration, abjuration. The kicker is where you can place your specialties. Let's see here. Didn't look up focus specialist, so I'm going to drop that and do so. We're going to check that here, and that's here, and that's here. And let's see, that's some Serbia thing or something like that today, looking out the mountains. Yeah. And let's go here. What am I looking for? Focus specialist. Focus specialist. That's weird. And in that type thing, in that type of sense, and we're gonna go plus, and it's a AD&D, AD and D. Yeah. Search and specialist wizard variant. Order the stick. Oh, I didn't know they did that. Yeah. And let's see, wizards, abjurant variant, conjurer variant. Well, that must be different. What book was that? Complete Arcane. That's the order of the stick one. And let's see here. That's not good. Nope. And let's see. Character. Wow. Variant. Okay. 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 Anywho, I will probably put it out there. I'm not seeing it from what I want to see. Apparently, Order the Stick wrote something that's similar in title, and it's not really showing up. I think I have a screenshot of it, and I'll put that up there. Okay, now, from that, This is where it gets weird. Evocation is got Burning Hands in it, which is fire, although the magic missile has fire in the title of it, or in the title or description from the fingertips. It's a force effect in parentheses in the second line at the top. So, but it's still in the school of Evocation, the energy school. Let's see here. Should probably turn back to that again. That was not good. That's magic missile. Sounds like fire. From your fingertip and strikes, and it darts forth type thing like fire. And didn't take any other word usage type thing. And that's energy is force. So, which is a force of fire, taking that type of sense. That's a Patronus spell, a force wave or shock wave, taking that type of sense, like a sonic wave. The force of the air throwing the object. And tornado-wise, picking up, although fire, there are fire tornadoes type thing. I believe that's a force effect. Let's see here. And, anyway, that's Evocation. From that, this is the trick to this. We have a, where do I want to go with this? Chart one. And your chart one is one spell. So you get one of these taking that type of sense. Although it's not reading one on the D4 type thing, that's one D4. Yeah. And you're going to get a chart one, and you're going to get an intelligence one. Yeah. Boom. Yeah. And here we're going to set this up. That's still at first level. There. And that's first. And these are here. Now, 20 intelligence. Get two of them. So now we're going to start off the intelligence score. 17 points, 4, and 18 intelligence. And then your race in the Pathfinder for human has a +2 to any one ability. And so that's strength or dex or con or intelligence or wisdom or charisma. So you're going to put a +2 in there after you already spent 17 points in there with an 18 score and a bonus +2 to any ability. And intelligence is an ability, which is just crazy. That's intelligence, and from there, it's an ability. So in that type thing, that's a extra 2 score on the 18 score that you paid for. The 2 score came from your race of being human. The 18 score came from the 17 points, resulting in an 18 in a Pathfinder sense. From getting started in a point sense without rolling it. Okay, so 18 plus 2 is 20. 20 normally goes in a modifier, but we're looking at page 8 for bonus spells. And 20 to 21 over the 5 modifier gives you 2 first level spells. 2 first level spells extra. So bonus 2 spells at that level. So number of bonus spells that you have are 2. So there's 2 of those, so I think that means. And that's 2 right there. And we're going to put that there. That's our one from the chart on page 55. And that's one from the chart. Got to make sure there. And we did on that. And now our evocation one is, our specialist one, is on page 57. And that's an additional spell. And the level you're casting at is first, so it's another spell there. And focus specialist is 2 additional ones on top of the one that you started with, I think that means. So that's 1 there, and that's 2 additional ones here, I think that means. So you have 3 spells. So from those 3 spells, that's here, like that. From those 3 spells, we're going to place those, but not any of them in enchantment or necromancy. So we're going to place our chart one, and we're an evocation specialist, so we're going to put them in fire. I don't think we have to, but we're good in evocation. And in our intelligence one, we're going to put in abjuration and conjuration, which is going to be interesting. You could put it in divination if you wanted to. That's another great reasoning. And okay, and then from there, you're going to take the specialist one in the evocation to take which is your fire school, and from that, you're going to put 2 of your focus specialists in there in the cost of one of your chart spells, which is this blue one here, and then that's your leftover right there. So now you've got 1 in conjuration and 1 in divination. Divination does true strike, which you could switch your 2 intelligence bonus ones over, and I believe divination does comprehend languages for reading a spell or scroll in a different script at first level. So divination, that's comprehend languages under first sorcerer wizard, and that's identify and true strike. So all those were through your intelligence spells. You could take 2 identifies if you wanted to, because you had a 20 intelligence with 2 first level spells. Very complicated type thing. If you took the conjuration abjuration, you could take the Mage Armor, which is a +4 armor bonus, and the protection from evil. So now, in that, very, very complicated on that one. Where do I want to write that? Generally, in that, that's law and lawful and evil, taking in that type of sense. And that's your circle here and here, and they're lawful or evil, taking in that type of sense. There is actually a separator in there, and it's very confusing. But once you get the hang of it, to maintain it, now if you put up a circle protection versus evil, even though it didn't cover the law side of it type thing, they still are part evil, and it would work against them. Also important type thing when things are lawful neutral, because they put up a circle of protection from law, because then they would cover up the fact that they were neutral, but not the fact that they were part law, and the protection from law thing would work against them. A very rare thing to look up, for sure. And that is protection from spells, protection from law on page 266, right there. And so now they are lawful, and the law protection will work against them. All right, now with that, that's evocation, and you're doing conjuration type thing, Mage Armor, and we did protection from evil. That's here, and this spell wards creature from attacks by evil creatures from mental control, and from some common creatures. It creates a magical barrier around the subject at a distance of 1 foot. The barrier moves with the subject and has 3 major effects. So the barrier does move with you right there. Yeah. Okay. Then first, the subject gains a +2 deflection bonus to AC and a 2 resistance bonus on saves. And skipping to the speed reading of the next paragraph. Second, the barrier blocks any attempt to possess the warded creature by magic jar attack, for example, or to exercise mental control over the creature. And boom, that's barrier. +2, the barrier moves with you, +2 deflection, and blocks any attempt by magic jar. And third, the spell prevents bodily contact by summoned creatures. This causes the natural weapon attacks of such creatures, like their claws or beak attacks or something, the claws of a dretch, to not go through you, to fail, and the creature's recoil of such attacks require touching the warded creature. Now, if you gave those dretches a sword, then the sword is not a natural weapon to them, unlike their claw, and therefore the sword here, that's the claw, and the sword, the circle would stop the claw type thing that means, but it wouldn't stop the sword. The sword is being carried by the creature type thing, but that's not that. The sword was grown through their skin in that means, and that's a manufactured weapon that they picked up in their claw hand type thing in that type of sense, which is now a natural weapon of them in that type of sense. So that's their claw here type thing in that type of sense. That's A, and that's a sword here type thing, and that's B. And it would cover up the claw part, taking that type of thing, but not because the claw grew on their body. And the sword was made in a forge, which grew on their body. And that would make the forge carried in their claw natural, type thing, and that means a natural weapon. Because it's made out of natural steel and things of that nature. No, it's not natural because it's burned in a forge. So it makes it organic or through cell division. Well, I guess a steel cell division type thing. that's not true. The claw would be blocked, but once they use the forged sword type thing, that is not something natural to their body, and so that would go through the protection circle in that sense of the protection from evil. It's kind of a hard concept to get into, but anyway, that's evocation and is here in that. Now that's a deflection bonus from those spells of breaking up protection from evil here. And now that's armor bonus, shield bonus, dex modifier, size modifier, natural armor. That's the first page and the second page of a character sheet. That's the first page. That's their class and level. And here to AC, that's 10 plus the armor bonus, shield bonus, dex modifier, size modifier, natural, deflection bonus. That box fills up with 2. And that is also not the armor bonus box next to the 10 type thing, and that means, so you get 2 boxes type thing that are add up to 10, and that means if you took the abjuration, protection from evil, and if you're going to take mage armor from conjuration. So that's 4 plus 2, which plus 10 is armor class 16. Unless they have a dexterity modifier that goes with that, if they were elf or something like that. Here we went with human, but elf could do it because they have plus 2 intelligence naturally too, and a gray elf. And they have a plus 2 dexterity, so if they had a 1 modifier to their dexterity from 10 to 12 for free, then they would have a 17 armor class. Or if you're dumb enough to give them a 10 in their intelligence and a 10 in their dexterity, that would make 16 and 16 type thing in that type of sense. So that's dex 16 and intelligence 16 from 10 points, and 10 points type thing in that type of sense for 20 points. And in that, then the gray elf part of plus 2 to their dex and intelligence, this trait of the plus 2 is in addition to the high trait of a plus 2 dexterity, so they get the 1 in dexterity and the 1 in intelligence. And in that, now I'm going back forward here to the end, that's 16 plus 2 is 18, and that's 18, that's plus 4 modifier in both your intelligence and your dexterity. Here, and that means both of them have a plus 4 dexterity and intelligence. That's plus 4 dexterity, and over the con, that's plus 4 intelligence. So now that's going to be, you have 4 dexterity modifier, so it's a 4 dexterity modifier here, plus your 2 deflection bonus from protection from evil. That's 6, plus your 4 armor bonus, which is 10, plus the 10 that's listed here, because the 10 isn't saying that this is going to turn into a positive 10 from these boxes. Take 10 unless your boxes add up to more than that number of that 10. You're adding those numbers of boxes to the 10 type thing to make, and that would be 10 plus 10, which is 20. Okay, now, and we're kicking in that type thing. That's first level sorcerer, wizard, abjuration, protection from evil, and that's the abjuration spell, and we're gonna put that underneath the 1, and that is also, now we looked at that, and mage armor plus 4 armor bonus here, and that's over to the mage armor. That's mage armor. Now, that's the top part type thing here, right there, and it's a force. The force surrounds you, and here, in that type of thing, right there, is that no armor check penalty, arcane spell failure chance, or speed reduction. So it will not hamper your armor or your ability to cast the spells. It's a force effect that's like a shield effect around the Enterprise and Star Trek Next Generation. And it will, you can still cast inside the bubble of it type thing and be not disturbed by the bubble hitting your hands. It will stay off the bubble type thing, that means here. So now you're in there in casting in that, and the bubble comes against your hands type thing, and you can't cast. That is not correct. the force effect surrounds, envelops around you. I guess that's the ground underneath you, or maybe it isn't. And in that type of thing, it is just a shimmery, passable force for you to cast through, like a sanctuary, which is not interfering with your ability to cast other spells on yourself in there. So, or out of it, type thing that means. It is not a shield of impregnability to it. So you can cast out of the bubble type thing that means. That's your Mage Armor, but it counts as the armor bonus type thing, even though it has no restrictions on it, which is the first box here. So that's 4. That's 4 from armor, and dexterity was 4 modifier, and deflection bonus was 2, which is an actual separate box here, and that's a deflection bonus. And I'm not sure I can make that any sharp with my camera. There, that's a deflection bonus. I will try to get a picture of that and put that up. I think I have a close-up of it, or I'll scan it. And let me write that down. And scan deflection armor class. Okay. Right there. Alright, good. And so in that type thing, you put that together, and you put your base together with the 10. And those add up to 10, type thing in that type of sense, with a plus next to them type thing. So you're going to take that 10 plus 4 plus dex 4 plus deflection 2 in that means. So that is, I think you're going to bottom line all 4 boxes together, or 3 boxes plus the 10. And that's 10 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2. And that's 20 armor class at first level for an elf with an 18 dexterity. And they bring their bow to their wizard class with it, and they can switch this from Evocation to Divination for more true strikes with Focus Specialist, or they can have done it with the Conjuration and Precocious Apprentice type thing and bring in a summon 2 creature with a acid spray on it 3 times over. Things like that. At 10-foot square type thing, and that's 2 squares on a tile board type thing are going to be soaked with acid. I think it's once per round for those things. They just keep doing it. Interesting things in that type of sense. But now, these specialist ones have to come from your school of choice. So out of that type thing, here, you can do other schools type thing, but 3 automatically are not going to be included in any of the other schools, thanks to the fact that which school that you choose to specialize in. That's right. Which were Magic Missile or Burning Hands, which are also interesting because I believe those are per level that you know those of type thing in type of sense. So if you can, with Precocious Apprentice, then you get 3 second level spells at first level, and a second level spell is Scorching Ray with a touch attack on that, and that's also very interesting for a burn mage to have that as Precocious Apprentice and Complete Arcane. I'll try to get that spell up there too in that Precocious Apprentice. And what else did I cover? Focus Specialist. Okay. Alrighty. Outstanding. That's great. So I'll get those up there. But that's what you can do at first level. For the case of Salte, with that, you can do 3 Burning Hands in your second level spells at first, which is what the Precocious Apprentice grants. And let's see here. That is, oh yeah, like that's Scorching Ray here, and that is a second level Sorcerer Wizard. They can, hey, that's a 2 right there for that, for Scorching Ray. So then you would get your Focus Specialist and Specialist on top of that one. And since Precocious Apprentice grants you a second level slot, which you're going to lose in exchange for your Focus Specialist ones, although it's not on the chart, but I think you still have to lose it. Maybe it's because it's not on the chart that you can't lose it. But I think it says a prepared one in the Precocious Apprentice type thing, so that would count as a slot 1 of second. And you'll lose 1 to gain 3 Scorching Rays, and each ray deals 46 points. Is that right? 46 points of damage. So we have to do Scorching Ray too to see that. Very good. Very, very good. So look forward to that. But that's first level wizard can start with that type thing. Okay, a first level wizard can start with abjuration and conjuration in their schools, and also in that means let's see here, do 3 spells out of Evocation, with the first level being 3 burning hands at a range of 15 feet according to the spell. And here, bum 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 bum, and that's burning hands here, right here, 15 feet range as the first level spell. Your cast level at that point is going to be a D4. Spell says it can go up to maximum of 5d4 to maximize spell, but I think it says it maximizes the caster level or character level of caster that you have max in it, which is 20, but you're not a 20th level as 1, so it's just a 1d4 max to a 4, I believe. Yeah. But since you're casting 3 of them, that's like 4, 4, and 4, or taking chances with rolling a d4 for 4 and 4 and 4 type thing, depending on how you want to do that, or Magic Missile, because it hits unerringly, and then it wouldn't have to be a range of 15 feet, it's a range of 100 feet, and it's 85 feet more, and you don't have to roll a d20 and make it strike. Except for spell resistance, but there's no saving throw to Magic Missile as far as I know. There's 100 feet, standard action, verbal, somatic, no material component necessary on it, and it's instantaneous, and there is no saving throw on a Magic Missile. So a great candidate for an Evocation person at first level to throw 100 feet or over 20 squares, Magic Missile doing d4 plus 1 per missile every round. Unless they don't want to do the abjuration and conjuration, they can still take it for Mage Armor or for summoning out of the memorized one and go up to armor class as the human of Cialte for 14 armor. I'm not sure if he has a dex bonus. I think he does, but I can't remember. And I'm going to watch one of my videos, or you can watch them if you feel free to want to do that. And in the abjuration one, he can still do protection from evil with 10 base for him, plus 4 armor, plus 2 protection from evil deflection bonus, and that's 16 right there. Right then and there is 10 plus 4 is 14 plus 2 is 16 armor class at first level with 3 magic missiles or 3 burning hands, depending on what he was looking at. At the time, I think I picked different spells, a little bit different spells for him because of my spell compendium, but we'll get back to that. Okay, yeah, let's see here. Thanks for listening. Tomorrow I'm going to take apart these here, and I've got to despace my camera and edit this together to make this work, and I don't have enough time to do the arcane spells of how much fire is in the PHB for an Evocation specialist, but it will be the second part. I might do it tomorrow, but we'll see. Yeah, most likely tomorrow. And thanks for tuning in. Please feel free to like and subscribe and check out the rest of my videos. Very appreciated for the view, and have a great one out there. This has been Chad Brown with Tiger Owl Second City and Dimming Sage Block 9, looking at the overall statistics or mathematical layout projection possibility of understanding your character and the opportunities that were available in a second perspective look. Thanks again for listening, and have a great one.